we've actually got a radio show to get on with. So, in front of me, we've made it. We've been planning this, I don't know, since black and white television finished, I would imagine. So, in the studio, finally in the driver's seat garage, I've got him. Is the man who is a member of the Reliant Sabre and Scimitar Club, Kevin Cooper. Good evening, Kevin.
Good evening, Ian. Nice to be here at last.
Well, hey, what is it? Two NEC motor shows, and we were talking about it.
That's right.
And we finally get
there.
Right, now then, just to clarify something, first of all, a big thank you officially on air. I mean, Tom Carron.
You're more than welcome.
The return of driver's seat. Oh, we could do with a big name. Oh, hang on. Lob that over the fence. Have that.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy, and I think your listeners will enjoy the chat you're going to have with him.
Hey, I'm going to forget the listeners. I'm going to enjoy this myself. I tell you, I've got some big questions. Right, now then. In this new series of Driver Seat, oh, that sounds good. Oh, we're back. Right. In this series, new series of Driver Seat, not only have I gone past the perfect face for radio, because what I can tell you is, I have to tell you, this is being filmed. Right? So just deal with it. I'm trying to, I still can't. But what we need to do now is go back to Kevin. And what we're going to do, we're going to start off, Kevin, to just get you relaxed and in the mood to sort of get ready to tell me why, of all the classics in all the world, a Reliant Scimitar or Reliant whatever, you're going to be subjected to the driver's seat need to know challenge. Now, what the driver's seat need to know challenge is, quite simply, is we've got 12 questions all put together that we tend as motor enthusiasts to get asked, and all I've done is just put them together, and the score, the total score, if you had a perfect score, it would be 42, because of course, as we all know, being a petrol head is the answer to life, the universe and everything. So Kevin Cooper, are you ready to take the driver's seat need to know challenge?
As I'll ever be.
Okay, question number 1. How many times did you have to take your driving test?
1.
Right, what was your first car and what colour was it?
It was a white Triumph Herald 1500 with the inline engine.
Did it have a name?
No.
No, that's an odd name, but okay, we'll go with that then. Right, of all the cars you've ever owned, which one do you have the fondest memories of?
That's going to be difficult because I had a whole load of company cars as well.
Okay, well, don't worry, we're only on air till 9, so just give me one.
I think probably the fondest one I've had was the one I restored from scratch, my 6A British Racing Green Scimitar GTE.
There you go, can't argue with that. All right then. Favourite driving song? One, not an album. One.
Oh, one.
And Tubular Bells is not allowed, that's 24 minutes long. Go on.
Well, I think it's probably going to have to be Road to Hell.
What is your favourite movie car chase? And before you say anything, Fuzz Townsend had anything from Wacky Racers, so that's been taken already.
That sounds like Fuzz.
Genuinely, absolutely. So come on, what's your favourite movie car chase? Your favourite?
I think it's more combination of the two, the car and the lorry, of the... I'm trying to remember what it's called now. Oh, flip, it's gone.
See, this is live radio for you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so we'll edit the old flip out later. So you can't remember the film that you had your favourite car chase from?
I can picture the film, but I can't remember the name of it. That often happens to me. I can remember the thing, but I can't remember the name.
I've never done this before. I'm going to put -2 there because you forgot. I'll make this up as I go along and tell you. Right.
I told you I scored 0.
What, in your opinion, is the greatest real-world production car of all time? Real-world production car. So no Ferrari F40s, right? No Bugatti Veyrons. They're not real-world. Well, not for us anyway. So come on.
Normal sort of cars within our price range.
Yes, come on. So the real-world greatest production car in the world.
It's got to be the Mini Cooper.
Okay. I've given you one more point than I should have there, but that's giving the game away. Greatest real-world production engine.
Ooh, an engine. Well, the one that's got the longevity, I think, and in so many different cars, is the good old A series.
Lovely. I thought you were going to say the Essex V6 there for a minute. I was just going to hit you. Right. Prettiest production car of all time.
Oh, the prettiest.
Prettiest.
That's a hard one.
Well, it isn't if you know the answer, but go on. Prettiest. Come on.
Well, it's definitely not your Fiat Panda.
Absolutely not. That's quirky. Come on. And you diss my Fiat Panda again, mate. You're going out. Right, go on.
I think the GTE, the Scimitar GTE.
Can't argue with that. Okay. Right. Okay. Right. What, in your opinion, mind you, is the worst production car ever sold in the UK? Now, before you answer that question, I passed my test in a marina. First car was an Allegro. Away you go, Kev.
The worst production car
Ever. In the UK.
In the UK.
In the UK.
Sold in the UK or produced?
Sold in the UK.
Sold in the UK.
Sold in. So it could be Renault, it could be Fiat, it could be, I don't know, anything. Yugo, I don't know.
I think it would have to be the Renault 18 I had as a company car because it was just falling apart.
Okay. Just make sure you note where the Renault stand is before you go to the NEC this year. Sat nav or a map and a centre direction?
I much prefer a map and a sense of direction.
Okay, this is where it gets messy now. Name 3 cars that would definitely be in your dream garage.
Aston Martin DB9.
Okay.
My Reliant Scimitar GTC. And my Reliant Scimitar SE5A.
Okay, so you got 2 of the same car. Fine. You're going to say no, but there you go. Right, okay then. While I'm adding that up and while I'm taking a break, as I said, coming back to my earlier question, of all the cars in all the world, why a Renault? A Renault. Why? See, this is like, why a Reliant Scimitar? Of all the cars in all the world, and you got plenty to pick from, so I'm going to put my fader down.
I was about 10 or 11, not far from home, and I heard this noise coming a road round the corner, and I thought, what the heck's that? It sounds awesome. And it got louder and louder, and it finally turned the corner and started to come down, and I looked at the car and I was just amazed by the styling of it, the sound of it, and it happened to be a Reliant Scimitar GTE, and that's when I fell in love with it, about the age of 10 or 11.
Okay, when you first drove one, did it drive, meeting your heroes and all that, did it drive like you thought it would?
First one I drove was the first one I bought, always the mistake you make. It did actually, yeah. It had got a lot of power, and I just took it out down the road, round the car park, and back again, basically. That was up in Staffordshire.
Okay, right. I'm going to lob an age question at you now. So, when you were 10, all right. Sorry about this. What year was that?
1970.
1970. So
I am old.
Join the club, mate. So obviously the brand spanking new Range Rover didn't appeal to you. The DBS would have just about started hitting the place. Yeah. Gilburns were about. I've kind of lobbed that in. It was. Yeah. Yeah, but no. What is it? It was the design. It was the quickness. Maybe?
I loved cars that made noise. And this thing definitely made some noise when it came down the road with the 2 exhausts out the back, and just the look of it looked beautiful sports car. It was a 5A. I discovered later I just knew it was a GTE, and it was just an amazing car.
Okay then, there we are. This is a real petrol head question now then. So you've got 2 Scimitars, yeah?
I've got 4.
You've got 4. All right then, let's start that again. Out of the 4 Scimitars then, are they all V6?
No.
They're not. So you've got the 2.8.
No.
The Cologne. Oh, you haven't got the 2.8 Cologne.
I've got a XR3 1600 in the SS1, which is the little 2-seater Mitsubishi.
Okay, I was going to come on modifying original cars later, but as you brought the subject up, yeah. So.
And then there's the 5A, which has got a V6 Essex in it. The race car I've got, which again is a severely modified 5A, again with a V6 Essex in it, and the GTC, which has got the 2.8 Cologne in it.
Okay, so how does the V6 and the 2.8 Cologne compare? Bearing in mind you've got experience of both, how do they compare then?
Very similar, but I think the Cologne is a slightly smoother engine, just very slightly. But the Essex, I still prefer the Essex as an engine
because of that sound, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean the Cologne is typical German sort of efficiency, really, isn't it? In that sense. Okay, so with regard modifying now, I mean I wasn't joking bringing it up. Where are you on the whole sort of modifying classics? Bearing in mind you've got a couple yourself.
Well, if I show you a picture of the race car at some point, you'll see it's severely modified, lowered. It's got 2.5-inch exhausts on it. It's built for on the track. I wouldn't do that if it was a car that didn't have many of them about. I think if you've only got a few of the cars, you've got to look after them and keep them as close to standard as you can. But in our club, if you want to modify it, you can modify it. It's one of those things, we're not precious about the cars in that respect, and lots of people do, and they come up with some fantastic options and designs on the cars, and improvements to them a lot of the time.
Well, all right, give us a couple of sort of modifications that over the years now proved to be very good. You know, yeah, go on.
Going back to the Sabre 4s and 6s, the front suspension was not, shall we say, very good. It tended to wander a little bit, and they changed it, modified it to very similar to the 5A with the double wishbone in it.
Okay, and if anybody's listening now and thinking, oh, I'll go back to my knitting because this sounds like a car show, it's because it is. Go back to your knitting. Right, carry on.
So that was one modification that was done. Another one is sort of the power side of things. You can start sticking things like triple Webers on them, which makes it very interesting.
And what about sort of balancing those? Because I know that like twin SUs on a Mini are a nightmare to tune, really, if you got triple Webers on something.
Not had to do it, but I gather it's a bit of an art.
Yeah, yeah.
The guys use a lot of them on racing, and they do keep their adjustments on them between racing and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. How much more power is that worth than those triple Webers?
Off the top of my head, I wouldn't be sure, but I'm sure you're going to be talking about 15, 20 brake on it.
And then you relate that to the weight of the car. I mean, a perfect example is that, coming back to my Panda, is I had originally had 1100, which was 54 brake. Yeah, I'm only allowed that on the road. 54 brake. Then I had a 1.2, which had the 69 brake. Somebody stuck a turbocharger on it because the car was so light. So I guess with the Scimitar, it makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Not that, surprisingly, not that light. People think fiberglass is light, and with the chassis, you've got a great big ladder chassis underneath, and it takes 4 to 6 blokes to lift the body off a Scimitar in one go. They can be up to about 10 mil, 15 mil thick in places on the bodywork, and it is heavy.
Wow. What are parts like to get then? Moves on to that. I mean, are parts fairly easy to get?
You've got the Ford engine and gearbox, Salisbury rear axle, and a combination of the British cars that were around in that time. For front suspensions, Triumph. Switches tend to be Ford. There's some Leyland stuff in there. The little scutcheon that holds where the driver's door opening bit, that's out of the Allegro.
There we are. Great. See, good boy. You got my good books now. Are there any sort of things unique to the car though that perhaps are proving difficult or not?
Tends to be things like the upholstery and fascias and things like that, which are exclusively Reliant made, built. They are difficult to get, but we try and remanufacture things as much as possible. We've just done the rubber door seals on the 5A on the little opening window. So
yeah. And what about using it? How many miles do you reckon you're covering a year? You're not afraid to use them then, because some are.
Well, my 5A, when I bought it, was my car to travel to and from work, and I would fill up the tank, which is 70 litres every 3 days. And it was great fun to see people's reactions as I go hurtling down the road with the engine note, especially down one part of the hill in Kent where I live. There's a lovely twisty bit, and you could really let it go down there and just stop just in time for the speed camera. Not that I break the speed limit at all.
Absolutely not. No, we condone that. Yeah, I don't condone it, whatever. Right. Fuel consumption, what do you reckon you get then? Bearing in mind if you drive it vigorously or whether you drive it gently.
If you're sort of slightly on the economic side of driving, you can get towards 30, low 30s. If you're like me and like the right foot down a bit, 20s, 23s.
Yeah. Showing me ignorance now. Overdrive switch on it.
Yes. On third and fourth.
That standard.
Yes.
On all of them. You're right. Okay. Was it on the 2.8 or was that a 5-speed gearbox then?
No, that's still a 4-speed gearbox.
Still a 4.
Yes.
Yeah, but did that have? Well, I'm assuming that had overdrive. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
then.
only time they went to 5 was on the relaunched Middlebridge when they brought that out.
Right. Okay. When the Middlebridge came out, how did the clubs react in terms of? Well, look, this is a different. How do they react to the Middlebridge? Or is it just
it's still a Scimitar. It's a Scimitar that's been updated by Middlebridge. It would have been, if Reliant had done it, it'd been the natural progression through. I think the way Reliant would have carried on with it.
Okay.
And they're lovely cars.
Yeah. So in the club then, Eric. So what strikes you as the main differences then? I mean, obviously it looks butcher, I suppose. In that sense, it's slightly square, if I can remember rightly.
It's they body coloured the mirrors, the bumpers. They changed the alloys on it, and they updated a bit more on the interior, and stuck the 2.9 in it.
Right. Okay then. Kevin, you've been brilliant. Now, the club. Can you tell us about the club? And you've got a couple of minutes to shamelessly plug the club, and then I'll tell you how well or badly you've done on the Need to Know Challenge.
Well, the club is the Reliant Sabre Scimitar Owners Club, and is known as the RSSOC, and has been going for many, many years. It has various fashions within it. We have the concourse, which goes through. We have the sprinting, which is great fun. We have a meeting up at near Lichfield at Kerborough every year in third weekend in August, where we have sprinting on the Sunday. We even have the Ferrari Owners Club coming up and joining us for that, which is good fun, and we sometimes beat them on the track. But we have local meetings as well, and there's one in Wales that's near Cardiff that any local people around here want to go down to. They've only got to look on the club website, which is scimitarweb.co.uk, and they can find all the details on it.
Okay, so where is it in Cardiff?
Hang on, I will have to look at...
You go and check that out, don't
I
you
will
worry.
look at my... I've got
You
our
go-
magazine,
There you are,
Slice
see?
magazine with me,
Not a problem.
and there is, where is it, in South Wales, it's the Bear Hotel in Cowbridge.
Oh, there you are. That's the main street. Yeah,
In the High
the
Street.
Bear
yeah.
Hotel in
Yep.
Cambridge.
And that meets on the last Tuesday of every month.
At what time?
That's going to be about 8 o'clock they get
About
there.
8 o'clock, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 8 o'clock. Last Tuesday of
Thursday.
every month. Last Thursday of every month.
Let's check that. No, sorry, you were right, last Tuesday.
So it's 8 o'clock. Last Tuesday.
The
Bear Hotel, Cowbridge.
Yes.
There you are. That's great. All you need to do is go along with a Reliant Scimitar. Or
Well, if
Sabre.
you're looking to get one, it's an ideal place to come along and chat to guys that have got
Absolutely.
them, and they're more than willing to help out.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously you've got the whole club scene, which does at least you go in with your eyes open then as
Yes.
to what you're buying.
Yeah.
Because are you the club valuation,
I do. I actually the chairman
the chairman?
and the valuations.
Okay, well,
and I
thought I'd
liaise with the
get-
guys down here at the DVLA in Swansea, which
What
is
a-
great fun at
Yeah, yeah.
times.
What are the prices like?
They're going up and they're climbing up very quickly.
Yeah.
You're now looking at things of the early ones, Sabres, £20,000-30,000 £30,000. If they've got, some of them have got the rally heritage from Reliant, and they're 30 plus now. The coupes, you're looking at about 10, 15 and greater for a really good one. The 5, 6s vary round, starting at about 2 if you've got to do a lot of work on it, and then you're going up 6, 7, up 12,000 plus, and GTCs are at the same sort of money.
Yeah, I was going to say about the convertible. How many numbers are left? And any sort of
Yep,
feeling roughly?
I can tell you. One thing we do in the magazine, we each have our noggin sorry, not noggin, the registrar representative, and they do list the cars that are known out there.
It's live radio, by the way, folks.
So
There we go.
our total Sabre and Sabres ever built were 455, and we know of 144 of them.
Percentage-wise, that's pretty cool.
And that's from
That is
1960
pretty
to
cool.
64 cars.
Wow. Okay. Let's say we just focus on the Scimitar itself now.
On the GTE, you had 9,104 built of the 5A and 5s, and 3,160 are known about.
Still a high percentage, isn't it?
And on the 6s,
Mhm.
the other form of the GTE,
Yeah.
you have 4,865 built and 1,834 known about.
Wow. Okay. Well, it makes me say that first of all, now, Kevin, you've been brilliant.
Thank you.
I do apologise the score of the driver seat need to know challenge that I'm going to give you, but actually, do you know what? I just realised now, the score you have matches. Can't believe I'm going to say this on the first show. Your score of 31 out of 42. So you think a little bit like me, but not too close. Matches, if I remember rightly, Fuzz Townsend and Nick Larkin.
Well, I'm in good company then.
So, on that high note, Kevin, thank you very, very much indeed.